Marler here for Marler's movie reviews and relationship advice. This is a good red wine, a good apothic red. This is a flute. It's an old flute. Doesn't work anymore, but I have it on good authority that it can be repaired. Just needs new pads or whatever. I recently watched episode 2 of Rick and Morty, season 1. Season 1 is one of my favorite seasons of Rick and Morty. If I had to pick a favorite season, that would be on the short list for sure. I was introduced to Rick and Morty by a man named Sasha, who invited me into his house, into his living room, into his bed, and on that fateful evening we watched 4 episodes in quick succession. One of those was episode 2, Lawnmower Dog. And it has come to my attention that Lawnmower Dog is one of the most popular episodes of Rick and Morty. I don't know what the most current numbers are. It might be the most popular episode. People love this episode. It's kind of ironic because it's not one of my favorites. Especially not the A story. I find the whole mech dog, super smart storyline, that's not interesting to me at all. To me, the interesting thing about this episode is the B story, the so-called B story, where they get into Mr. Goldenfold's mind. It's probably the first episode I saw with Mr. Goldenfold. Definitely. No, it wasn't. I remember because the first one of the first season 1 episodes. This is the one where they incept Mr. Goldenfold. Now they're in his mind. He's dreaming about Mrs. Chocolate Chip Cookie Lady, so she's a flight attendant, so they have to incept her mind, and now it's inception within inception within inception. But in an episode which is ostensibly similar to the season 3 Purge universe episode, and ostensibly, I'm sorry, that was season 2. The late season 2 Purge episode, and ostensibly similar to the season 3 episode where they were 2 episodes in season 3, one where they're making fun of the action movie, and one where they're going to, where it's like, what are those Australian movies called? Lost my train of thought here. But the point is, season 3 attempted to do something superficially, which seemed to have worked just fine in season 1 and 2. And that is, in season 3, episode 2 was the one where they were in the Mad Max universe. That's what I'm trying to say. It was their Mad Max movie, and then they had the superhero movie spoof. And so you could look at those and say, here, Rick and Morty's doing it again. They're doing their own version of a universe. But you go back to seasons 1 and 2, like where they made fun of Inception, or where they made fun of the Purge universe, it was more than just a superficial glossing over of these ideas with Rick and Morty. They actually commented on it in a way that I'll get into later. Maybe that's kind of beyond the scope for just this one episode about season 1, episode 2. But I just wanted to say, superficially similar to a season 2 episode and 2 season 3 episodes, in that they all were spoofs of movie concepts, but done much better in season 1 and 2, and just done stupidly in season 3. So here we are incepting Mr. Goldenfold's dream. We go several levels in. It's where we first played with the idea of Rick and Morty and Summer being sexual with each other, which the series plays with and makes everyone a little bit uncomfortable. It's what they're good at. And we introduced the idea. There was that great psych gag at the end of the episode where Summer hugs Rick, and it's really awkward for him because he's been sort of forced to confront his sister as a sexual object, which he did not want to, but he had to because they were incepting Mr. Goldenfold's dream. And Mr. Goldenfold had this fantasy, but he was handling it. It was something that you would never know if you hadn't gone into the man's dream, literally. So let's not condemn someone for thought crime here. And meanwhile, in the A story, we got these Mecha Dog's taking over. Jerry's being stupid. This is probably the first episode where it really sets up Jerry as just being mercilessly pooped on by the show. So they set it up early. That wasn't something that Rick and Morty slid into. This is season 1, episode 2. Episode 1 set up Jerry as kind of a good guy. You know, he's a doofus. He seems dumb just because he's living with Rick, who's the smartest, you know, creature of any kind in this universe. Smarter even than extraterrestrial aliens that are smarter than most people, you know. And his daughter has some of his smarts, and Jerry, he just seems dumb in comparison, but we don't know if he's really dumb. Well, now in episode 2, it makes it explicit. Episode 2 tells us, no, Jerry is dumb, man. He doesn't understand dogs. He doesn't understand how to train dogs. He doesn't understand conditioning. And he doesn't understand people. Ultimately, this was overplayed in season 3, but it started off okay. The whole let's all poop on Jerry, that started off okay. And it started off with episode 2. Here's some relationship advice. Are you and your partner stressed out? Are you stressing each other out? Why don't you try drinking red wine? Now, the trick to a good red wine is you want to look for the word apothic. Apothic. It's going to be on the front of your red wine. Look for the word apothic. Also look for words like no nitrates added, no nitrites added, or even better yet, no nitrates or no nitrites. Those are good. Look for those words on your red wine. Get a bottle, pop it open, let it breathe for half an hour. And then you and your partner just watch old Marler videos and talk about the issues, and everything's going to be fine. This has been Marler for Marler's Movie Reviews and Relationship Advice.